Hello everyone, how are you? Hope you're all doing well. It's been a while since lockdown has ended and I've been back to work. I struggled to get back into the swing of human life, but now I'm kind of back into the swing of things and I'm gonna start making my videos again. I don't know if I like how much I can actually commit to, but that will just come with time, seeing what works and what doesn't. But yeah, today's video is going to be a tutorial on how I do my everyday brows. I have tried to give as much detail as I can. However, brows are a really difficult subject to talk on because everyone's got a different brow preference. Everyone uses different things to complete their brows. Everyone wants different looking brows and everyone naturally has different looking brows. But this is just how I do mine on an everyday basis, so you can give it a try and see how it works. I naturally have really straight brows and my goal when filling in my brows is to make them look far more arched and give myself more eye space for my eyeshadow. So those are my goals. If your goals are different, then I am going to do a couple more videos that cover different areas and I'm hopefully going to try it on different people, so as well you can see how it works on different human beings. But without further ado, let's get into the video and I'll see you later. Bye. Okie dokie, so the first thing that I'm always going to do when I start to do my brows is just grab any brow spoolie and just brush the brow hairs up. Now, depending on how coarse or how fine your brow hairs are, they may just kind of stick straight up or they may slightly bounce back. My hair's quite fine, so it doesn't move too much, but by doing this it reveals the actual shape of your brow first thing. Now, to me this step is actually one of the most important for getting like a proper, like that bitch brow. So I do my eyes before the rest of my face anyway, and before I do my eyeshadow you always have to prime your eyes. So I kind of add carving the brow out into priming my eyes. So I'm just grabbing a concealer. This one's the Aucoin Sensual Skin Enhancer, and just taking a flat brush I'm going to go first around the baseline of my eyebrow. So I'm making that line. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but I'm making that line and then pulling the concealer down from there. I can go ahead, prime the rest of my eye now and continue doing the rest of my eye makeup and face makeup, but I've already got this really carved out, defined brow line already. And that's going to help us later on when actually filling in, because we've already got a line there. So it just makes our job a little bit easier because it adds a slight amount of definition before you've even done anything to the brow. So like I say, I'm going to go in, prime my eyes properly and put on some eyeshadow. So this is just step one, is carving out the bottom. So I'll see you in a second when I have a far more full face of makeup on. Okay, virtually all my makeup is done other than my brows and my lips. So now that I've been using face products and powders and things, there might be a little bit of remnants throughout the brow, so I'm just going to use my spoolie to brush through, get a little bit of that excess powder or foundation out of the brow. So I'm using the Revolution Faux Brow, which I used in my All Revolution video and I'm still obsessed with, and this is in the shade medium brown. Now this is a slightly chunkier pencil, if you can see, so it's going to give you a little bit more of a diffused brow, not as structured, just an everyday kind of nice brow look. Also look what I just did, really sad. Okay, so when I did my eyeshadow, I did go in and add a little bit of powder highlighter just underneath. That helps to trick the light into making the eyebrow look slightly more lifted. So my brows are actually quite straight. They do go a little bit up towards the arch, but not too much. So what I want to do personally is make them look a little bit more arched. First of all, I'm going to start to fill in this baseline here and just start making really small little strokes. And the reason I don't do one straight harsh stroke is because this is going to give me a more natural appearance to the brow as opposed to it being completely etched on. Anywhere that I see a little bit of hair, I'm just almost connecting the dots together. Now that I've got this little bit of line, I'm going to take my pencil flat ways as opposed to on the side, and I'm just going to lightly brush upwards into the brow hairs in the direction that they grow, just to feather that line out ever so slightly. That kind of diffuses out that more harsh line on the bottom and starts to fill in any sparseness in the inner half of the brow. So now that we've feathered that line out a little bit, I'm just going to take the same spoolie and just go in with quite a good amount of pressure and just push that line up upwards only into the brow. Be careful that with this spoolie you're not pushing too much lower than the line. You want to be hitting it on the line and pushing it upwards, because otherwise it will start diffusing down and then give it a bit of a wobbly wonky shape. So now that I've really naturally filled in this first half, you can see it doesn't really look like we've done much to it, but it looks a hell of a lot more full than this side does. So now what I want to focus on is giving my eyebrow a little bit more of an arch. So for me, that involves kind of filling in slightly higher here. But with an arch, you don't want to come out any further than where your tail hairs naturally come or grow in, shall I say. So what I'm going to do is look straight forward, and I'm going to start towards the middle of my brow in the exact same way that I did on the bottom, making small little marks, keeping it really light pressure, and I'm just extending up my eyebrow in a diagonal form. Do you see that? So this is like naturally where my brow stops, and I'm just picking it up just a little bit, not too far, just a little bit. And as it gets to the arch, I start to round it off and pull it in exactly where the tail naturally comes in. So that's how we're going to keep the brow looking natural. We're not going to enhance every single part of the brow, we're just going to enhance the arch. Now, in the same way that we did on the baseline of the brow, wherever we did that line, we're going to start feathering it downwards towards the tail. And again, in exactly the same way, I'm going to take my brow spoolie and just push and brush through those brow hairs with a light pressure this time, because this is the part that needs slightly more structure. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to focus on is this bottom baseline here that extends towards the tail. So all I'm going to do in the exact same way as before is follow that concealer line that we made before that's still quite clear and vivid. I'm just going to really gently push a little bit of pigment up against that concealer line, and then go ahead and extend out the tail of my brow. This is just preference, you don't actually have to do this, but I just kind of like the way that it looks with my eyeshadow being all fanned out. The great thing about having made that concealer line is if we make any mistakes, we can just take the same brush with either a tiny bit of the concealer, or like I'm doing, just taking it and using the excess that's already on it, just to clean up right around the edges. So for me, that is a completely finished brow. Like, look at the difference. It's insane. However, as you can see in this area where I've got a lot of my hair density, it does look a slightly different texture from up here where I've sort of filled in a little bit more. So in order to combat that a little bit, I'm just going to take a little bit of a tinted brow mascara. This one's just from Collection and it's in the shade Brunette, sorry. And I'm just going to brush that through, but downwards, and only in the areas that don't have as much hair. Now the reason that I do this is because a brow mascara naturally thickens up the hairs that you already have. Well, the hairs around here are already pretty thick, but there will be some really small little white micro hairs that you can't see, that this brow mascara can grab onto. And do you see that difference? Like, it looks now like there's hair going the whole way through that piece that I've outdrawn. There we go. So I'm going to repeat the exact same steps on the other side, and then our brows are done. Okie dokie, I'm done. So that is it, everyone. That is exactly how I do my eyebrows. That's how I fake them being slightly more arched than they naturally are, and how I would approach an appointment. If someone's not got any particular sort of preferences when it comes to their brows, then this is kind of how I will attack it. I do usually use a pencil because I think it gives a slightly more natural appearance, but it can also provide a lot of structure, and you can do some really fine details if you use finer pencils as well. I love powder brows. They're really good if you've got natural thickness to the brow. A pomade can be really good for creating the natural brow hairs and actually doing really, really fine detailing. There's also soap brows. Soap brows have really come in recently as well, which if you want a video on that in particular, I can show you exactly how you do those soap brows. That's that like faux brow lamination style that's really come in, and the brows hairs are sort of stuck down to the skin so they don't move. So many different avenues you can go down with your eyebrows, as with anything in makeup. So what I might do is do a little bit of, not a brow series, but just a couple of videos and some different techniques you can use. But yeah, this is my go-to at the minute. This Revolution brow pencil is a game changer. I think it's only a couple of quid. I think it's like £8 or something. So fabulous. So yeah, that was my video. Thank you all for watching. I hope that was helpful. Thank you all so much for watching. If you did like this video, then please give it a like down below and subscribe if you want to see more. I have got an Instagram at Emily Carman MUA where I post little photos on there of client work usually, so if you want to see that, then head over. And yeah, thank you all for watching. See you all next time. Bye.